over-the-top TV. Watch your life make sense.
All of the children are being called to be as one again. And we're one desire that cannot be filled unless we come back again, where we will be one. In a brand new world, there's a brand new world where the brand new world with no more concealment. All shall be revealed with the hand that will lead us back again, where we will be one. Obedient freedom will no longer bleed. We will cleave on to thee again, and your light will lead us to the brand new world. There's a brand new world where the brand new world. The times are changing. We are rearranging. We are awakening to the brand new world. There's a brand new world where the brand new worlds. In the brand new world, there's a brand new world where the brand new world.
Thank you for that beautiful song, friends. And our men are going to lead us on a preparation, right?
Absolutely, Zohar. We're starting with a reading starting on page 20 of the Social Writings by Rabash, starting from the second full paragraph. Thus, there is but one counsel. Several individuals must come together with the desire to abandon self-love, but without the sufficient force and appreciation for bestowal to become independent, without help from the outside. Now, if these individuals annul before one another, seeing each of them has at least potential love of the Creator, though they cannot actually keep it, then by each joining the society and annulling oneself before it, they become one body. For example, if there are 10 people in that body, it has 10 times more power than a single person does. However, there is a condition. When they gather, each of them should think that he has now come for the purpose of annulling self-love. It means that he will not consider how to satisfy his will to receive now, but will think as much as possible only of the love of others. This is the only way to acquire the desire and the need to acquire a new quality called the will to bestow. And from love of friends, one can reach love of the Creator. meaning wanting to give contentment to the Creator. It turns out that only in this does one obtain a need and understanding that bestowing is important and necessary, and this comes to him through love of friends. Then we can talk about fear, meaning that one is afraid that he will not be able to bestow contentment to the Creator, and this is called fear. Hence, the primary basis upon which the building of sanctity can be erected is the rule of love thy friend. By that, one can acquire the need to bestow contentment upon the Creator. After that, there can be fear, meaning fear of perhaps not being able to give contentment to the Creator. When actually, past that gate of fear, he can come to faith, because faith is the vessel for instilling divinity, as it is explained in several places. We thus find that there are three rules before us. The first rule is that of Rabbi Akiva, being love thy friend as thyself. Prior to that, there is nothing that provides a person with the fuel enabling him to modify his situation even a bit, as this is the only way to exit from self-love toward love of man, and the feeling that self-love is a bad thing. Now we come to the second rule, which is the fear. Without fear, there is no room for faith, as Baal HaSulam says. Finally, we come to the third rule, which is faith. After all the above mentioned three rules have been acquired, one comes to sense the purpose of creation, which is to do good to his creations.
Let me read actually what I tried to write. It says, this article says there is but one course: to come together with the desire to abandon self-love. In preparation for our meeting tonight, let's ask ourselves to think only of ways to make this possible for each other. With that in mind, answer this question. How does annulling oneself before the group help each of us reach love of the Creator? And maybe we could break out or do it in however Zohar wants to do it.
We'll break out. Just ask the question. We always ask the question twice. Just.
I'm sorry. My bad. How does annulling oneself before the group help each of us reach love of the Creator?
I just have to annul myself in order to see the greatness around me and what the Creator is trying to show me.
The minute that one of us think that we're above or another, we cannot help ourselves. So we've always got to put ourselves in a lowly position in order for us to annul ourselves before the friends and see only the merits in the friend and no faults in the friend.
No. Well, I can add that abandoning self-love means nothing in this for me. How can that help me reach love of the Creator? And what I can say is it helps me be like the Creator, because that's how He is. No need for anything for Himself, only the will to bestow. Mike?
That was almost exactly my thought, that this is how we learn to feel what the Creator feels, to feel bestowal by loving each other first. And then only then can we know that the Creator is great, that this is what He is all the time.
Yeah, it seems like this is the first stage. As you can see, there's like 3 rules laid out. This seems to be the hardest one for me, especially. It's just stuck in that self-love zone, and just by practicing and having the right intention and keeping your eye on the goal, eventually you'll get there.
Hello, friends. I think annulling ourselves, if each of one of the 10 is annulling itself, we are preparing the big vessel, the vessel of the group, to receive the abundance of love of the Creator. The only way to make this vessel stronger is by annulment.
What I see in this article is the whole thing laid out in a step-by-step manner. It's this annulling yourself to the group allows you to love the friend, and then you wonder if you can love the creator, especially if you can't love the friend, like Tim was saying. If you can't even love the person you see in front of you, how will you ever love someone you can only imagine? Now, take that and realize that's what brings you to fear. You're afraid you can't do it. And this is the process. And then it goes further to speak about the faith and the confidence that lets you realize that. But this process of annulling yourself has to occur. There's no way around it.
And again, it's a matter of practice. We need to practice and practice again and practice again until we did it. We will do it unconsciously. We need to practice to let the annulling and to love the friends to be a part of our life. And with the practice, it's all gonna be more easy.
Yeah, the all of our lives we've been kind of working in a clockwise pattern, and now trying to reverse everything and go counterclockwise it's seemingly an impossible feat. But the Kabbalists have laid out the steps to take in order to get there, and it's the effort's the most important part. And as long as you're doing your part, then the Creator steps in and fixes the rest.
And Oscar wrote, he probably meant to write us all, but it came to me privately because I said hi to him. Each individual is a small boat floating in the ocean. We need to anchor ourselves to a bigger and stable vessel destined to the same destination. This is the group of friends. And he'll be joining through the chat. And Dano is here too, so I re-put the question because the new people that come in can't see it. So Dano may be able to speak or give us an answer in the chat later.
Well, remember, this love of friends is the result of our work. So this is not where we start. This is what we accomplish at the end of our work here. So this is why it's an important thing to focus on, because until we get to love of friends, we don't even have our foot in the door.
There is a way that we are taming the will to receive. This egoism, which is in complete opposite creation to what the Creator is. These are two good rules. Love thy friend as thyself, and fear as methods to tame this ego.
Exactly, Johnny, because when we say annul ourselves, what are we annulling? We're annulling self-love. And we're coming to learn to love our friends. And we can't have both. We can't be in self-love and loving the friends at the same time. They'll come and go, but only through annulling the self-love can we hear them and see them as great, and then come to love of the Creator.
Thank you, friends. That was absolutely amazing. Everyone feeling the greatness right now? Nod your heads. Or go like that if you don't agree. All right. So the big smile on my face, I'm here to let you know that this is our transition to the next semester, right? We're on lesson 12. We are, someone's unmuted. Who's unmuted? I heard a noise. Anyway, so we are now in that state. We're in a stage between the third and the fourth semester. You wonder why if you remember right in the beginning, we talked about the fact that the young group is comprised of 2 semesters. There's the first young group semester and the second young group semester. We refer to them as semester 3 and semester 4 because in our physical campuses, we have got semester 1, semester 2, and then we move to the young group, which is semester 3 and 4. It's commonly known as that also around the world in our world CLE. And for you, it's also, you have 2 semesters in the EC, and now this is the 3rd semester that we're concluding and moving to the 4th semester. One would think that, oh, we have to, you know, oh, we're finished, or we have to be sad or something like that. On the contrary, we should be like ecstatic. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, as we talk a little bit about that, you know, it's always good to see, look at ourselves and what happened to us in these last, I don't know, 3 months or so. Where did we come from? Where are we now? We were introduced to the concept of a 10. We're actually working in a 10. We're workshopping. We're participating on a different level. So before we move into the actual next part, I want everyone to close your eyes, and for 10, 20, 30 seconds, just take an account. What has changed? What have we been through as individuals? What have we been through as a group? What have we been through as a 10? And now share with everyone. Share with your 10, share with everyone here, the most meaningful things that you've been through, things that you've attained in this semester as an individual. What changes have occurred? What growth has occurred during this semester? Let's do it very short, okay? So we don't have to spend the whole lesson doing that. We do want to kind of share that feeling, but we do want to also leave room for the rest of what we have for today, okay? So who's going to start us off here?
Definitely our perspective, my perspective has changed and it's broadened, much larger. Okay.
Let's do this. Emuna, you're our moderator. You're going to call out names, okay?
All righty then. I see Merle.
I have found my ego to be impossible to overcome. And the guys I'm working with are showing me every day that I'm a treacherous person inside. And I thank them for it. Next.
Carol.
I've grown, the importance of the goal and the importance of the group has grown a lot in the last young group semester.
Tim.
You know, we're learning to connect every day, and seeing the efforts of all the friends and how important this is to everyone else is unbelievable.
Good. Kathy Gmail. Kathy CP.
I'm delighting in the longing we have to get together as often as we're getting together and enjoying one another and our growing as a group.
Mike. Thank you, Kathy. Mike.
Yeah, it was about my spiritual attainment. In the beginning, I'm finding more and more worried about the connection and the group.
Okay, thank you. Matilda.
Surprisingly, as Mike said, I felt the same thing. I'm usually a lonely person. I like to work alone, but these 3 months catch me thinking each time more often about the group and how it works. Next.
Thank you, Matilda. Johnny?
It's really shown how that there is a form and a force that governs this world, and it's definitely a singularity of only one force that we call the Creator.
Thank you, Johnny. Selena.
Okay, so far, it means late is tonight. And as I see everyone, each one of you talk, you usually lower your, you usually lower your head down before you talk. And it feels like
It's difficult.
Precious.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Selena.
It feels
You can
like
do.
it's me talking.
Thank you, Selena.
Thank you.
Leonardo. Leonardo.
Hi. More than, yes, more than changing, I think we are building. We are building the base, the cornerstone of our spirituality. We are creating that seed that in the future can grow to be a bigger tree.
Thank you. Kathy.
I love that. I love the society I've chosen into, and everyone in it, and all of the pieces that each of us bring to the society. That's what I found, and that's what I love.
Yes. Good. Thank you. Oscar.
Oscar writes in the chat, one feels the stronger connection and bonding with the friends every day growing.
Okay, great. Thank you, Adam. Adam, would you like to go next?
Yes, for Dano, who writes, it made me realize the importance of the group. And that's what it's done for me also, is see the beautiful process unfolding here and to appreciate it much more and try to take a less egoistical approach towards my control issues.
Yes. Thanks. Sarah?
Well, I'm trying to juggle a couple of things here, coordinating things. And so I wasn't in the place where I could be easily moved, but I was just blown away by what just happened here, the flow between Imuna's question and Adam's response in reading what somebody had written. It was so incredibly beautiful. It just, for me, encapsulated everything that's happened this semester of this group coming together, people learning how to connect, how to collaborate, how to do things together and to flow. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. And for me, it's like my outer shell is just melting away. Just melting away. And lastly, Zohar.
It's like seeing the creator being revealed before your eyes. Seeing theory being realized before your eyes, and seeing what feeling is and how a 10 forms and how friends become friends and how connection is thick and meaningful and purposeful. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Let's take another 30 seconds, friends.
I'll interrupt. I think we passed over Carlotta.
Oh, that would be terrible.
We can't pass over Carlotta.
Absolutely not.
No. Carlotta, go right ahead, my dear. I don't know how I missed you. I don't even see you.
What I've been learning through this, I want to learn more how to to maneuver my ego and improve that connection. Thank you.
Okay, back to Zohar.
Wonderful. And thank you, friends. And why do you think this all happens? Could we have done any of this if we didn't have these friends? Could we have done any of this if we didn't have our 10 and how they're working, the group working with us and all that? Take 30 seconds in silence. But silence is just because your mouth is not moving and words are coming out of your from your tongue and lips. But thank everyone here. Show them your gratitude and appreciation for what was enabled from this friendship, from this commitment of all your friends. Okay, so with that excitement, that love that you feel in your heart right now, we're going to move into a very exciting next degree. We have been learning about many different things in this process. We've learned basically the fundamental aspects of a group and what it means to be a friend, and how we should what we should expect from our meetings together, and how we should interact, and what our attitude should be, and what annulment is, and subjugation, and those basic things that we do in Kabbalah every day. There's one big aspect that we haven't spoken about, and a lot of what we're going to be doing from here on is related to this concept. It's a word that outside of Kabbalah means very little to me. It doesn't have any, I don't know, it's not like attractive or something like that. And it's a simple word called dissemination. Why is this so important? Let me ask you right here. Let's not do a whole workshop, but a few people answer me. What is light?
It's a sensation.
Within reason, it's understanding.
Carlotta?
To me, it's the upper forces.
It's the love of the Creator, the love of His actions.
Pleasure from the Creator.
It's wisdom.
So I'll venture to say that light is the feeling we have when we manage to change our attitude from me to we to one, from me or for me to for others, or from me to us to for the Creator. When I manage to take somehow whatever comes my way and move it from what do I get for this to how can I give from this, that's light, that feeling that I get from it. And you know that all we talk about is bestowal. We need to somehow acquire this quality called bestowal. The entire godly light that we're talking about is about bestowal. It's about giving to others. We understand that it's not the giving to others that we're accustomed to in this world, and that somehow that's a little tainted because of what we've learned in the past. But obviously, if I could learn to give like the Creator gives, I would actually be doing what needs to be done. So if that's the case, somehow we need to shift our flow, the stream, the direction of how things are going from to me to someone else. How do we get to the next degree? We could be studying a lot more material, learning more lessons, I don't know, acquiring more information, knowledge, discovering new things about the group. How will we be in more bestowal, closer to the upper force, in equivalence of form with Him? After all, bestowal is going outside of ourselves, right? So how can our group go out of itself on its own and bestow? I'll give you about 5 minutes for this, okay? Once again, how can we move to that next degree in which we are, as a group, going out of ourselves, actually advance to the next degree this way?
Bestowals in are vessels that exist above reason. I'm starting there.
It's going into dissemination, how we come out of ourselves into the love of others. So it's a continuation of this connection, which is within this group, and to further create the base and the foundation of solidifying this unity and this oneness.
Exactly, and that's by specifically focusing on what we can give to the others, what is appropriate and good for them.
How can we go as a group outside of ourselves? This is beyond what we've done in the group. So I really have to think of where that would be. And I think it's in the larger clique. You know, like the daily lesson.
Yes, I think that we can need to forget about the big I and the big us, and try to this group, this clique of soul that we are making, try to disseminate what we learn here. We can give it to other groups or to other people in the B'nai Baruch, and to other tends to come to interchange ideas, interchange light outside the group.
Well, let's tie those two together, what Adam and Leonardo just said, and say we're actually transferring something from above us to something outside of us. So really, we shouldn't experience any of it in a way. We should try and almost keep our hands off and just let it slide through us somehow without any sensation coming for our benefit at all.
That's good, Meryl. Guys, I wish I had more to add. This is a pretty complex thought for me, but I like what everyone's saying.
You do have more to add if you read Oscar in the chat for him.
I can handle that. Letting light expand further by reaching out to others, not being an obstacle in the process.
It now expands us to become involved in the B'nai Baruch structure and family. In other words, to support the bigger world clique. Like Adam had said, the morning lessons, and really start interacting in that with your groups and expanding our perspective.
Even sometimes if it's just being an example, not necessarily teaching or whatever, just being an example, being there.
And maybe also to change the concept of cup, of vessel, and change it to the concept of pipe. Make a pipe. All that we enter for us, we need to give it out for others. We need to be a pipe that all the light that enter need to go out somewhere, and we need to try to be where we need to want to be that light go out.
Great, Leonardo. That sounds like an exact synopsis of everything we said, all put into one sentence. Thank you for that.
All right. So far we've been learning about annulment, uniting in our group, connecting, that we need to really become one strong team and all that. And now here, all of a sudden, we're throwing into this mix, this concept called dissemination, which is going out, telling others about it, sharing the secret of godliness to others. Or even telling people that there is such a thing as revelation of the Creator. Why is dissemination specifically considered bestowal, or a spiritual action, or even an action of love? Why is dissemination considered an actual act of bestowal, a spiritual action, or even an action of love?
Because it's not about you or what you're getting from it.
Right. It's about the others.
It's something you can't keep. You literally need to give it away.
I've read that in one of these articles, an action is something you have to do that you don't want to do. It's a coarse thing that you won't find joy in. That's what makes it an action.
And I guess what makes it bestowal is that we're caring about the well-being of the soul, of their connection and their coming back together.
Oscar says, because this is the best gift you can give to someone, because it's the best gift that you can give someone, and one gives his best gift to his beloved.
Being bestowal, it can't be from self, the will to receive. It can't be something I want. I can't get anything from it.
We also have to somehow grow this point in the heart. And by growing these points in the heart is by collecting the shattered pieces and forming, the one whole of Adam Rishon with all these pieces that are shattered throughout this world.
When I can't think of anything to say, I try to pray that those things happen for the friends, which is supposed to be an act of bestowal, praying for the others to be that increased conduit, a pipe for the light, bestowal.
Let's remember our concept of what bestowal is faulty. We can only compare it to what we think giving something is. But from the will to receive, we only give so we get pleasure. So it's not bestowal. And it's somehow we have to get it out of our minds and say, I'm going to do this against my better judgment, against everything I know to be true. But how to do that, without faith?
All right. So let me read you something from the Zohar, okay? Actually, no, I'm sorry. I lied. It's from Baal HaSulam, the introduction to the book Panim Meirot HaMuspirot. It is written in the Zohar that in this connection, the people of Israel emerged from the exile. And in many other places as well, that only through the spreading of the wisdom of Kabbalah amongst the multitude of people, we will merit the complete redemption. Our sages also said, the light in it reforms, and they were very meticulous about this in great intention, to instruct us that only the light in it is where the remedy is, to reform a person. This is from a book called Machane Ephraim. A person that really wants to serve the Creator needs to incorporate himself with all the created beings. And he also needs to connect to himself all the souls and integrate himself with them, and they are his nation. Meaning that you seemingly shouldn't leave for yourself only what is needed to connect to the Shekhinah, and for this, the closeness and increased amount of people are needed. Because according to the quantity of people serving the Creator, more of the light of Shekhinah is revealed upon them. An act of dissemination is an act of continuous, eternal love. Why do I say that? Look at the people in this world, the people around you, the people that you know. Thank God they don't know what their state is, because if they were to look at themselves from the side, they would realize that they're complete servants to their will to receive. They take on some pleasure of this world that they can somehow assign importance to, spend their life going through that, go through a whole lifetime, pass from this world, incarnate, and do it again and again, and are stuck in that cycle, never reaching the purpose of creation. The Creator gave us this imaginary world, or this state called this world, and those minuscule things that we put importance for are what people are stuck on. But we know that the world was given to us to do a certain job, to work, to attain the purpose of creation. And the Creator is revealed through the wisdom of Kabbalah. What you're basically offering people when you disseminate the wisdom of Kabbalah is life, is coming out of the darkness into actual real life, coming out of in the imaginary world where some, petty little things are holding us somehow together so that we don't burst in the seams, and providing an opening to life, to true life, to love, to bestow, to the light, to the Creator, to the upper force. Let's watch a short clip from Rav. Inasmuch as we bestow with all our forces towards each other, we build in us such qualities that will lead us to adhesion. The Creator himself, you cannot do any action towards him, because he lacks nothing, but rather all our actions we do between us only. And then we come in our actions to a state that we are similar to the Creator, meaning that all of humanity that's before me, and in general, still vegetative and animate, that are also there in my work, without any calculation for themselves, but only my calculation with others. As I work with others, I am working with the Creator, just like the Creator bestows to others, but now it's not revealed to me. That's how I need to bestow to others, and in a way that I bestow to him, to another. If I come to such degrees, such actions, in those actions I discover that the Creator does the same, and then we're in adhesion with him. In a mutual action, I on my behalf and he on his behalf, and then we're adhered. That's equivalence of form. Meaning, where do we meet with the Creator? In a kli, which is the connection of all of humanity. You remember way back when, probably in your first lesson, we learned this thing called the definition of the wisdom of Kabbalah. What is the wisdom of Kabbalah? And we read this thing. That question comes to the mind of every right-minded person. In order to properly address it, I will provide a reliable and lasting definition that this wisdom is no more and no less than a sequence of roots which hang down by way of cause and consequence in fixed, determined rules, interweaving to a single exalted goal, described as the revelation of his godliness to his creatures in this world. This point, this awakening that we get in our point in the heart throughout the generation came to Kabbalists, to those who are in attainment. And here, all of a sudden, we are in a state where we were awakened in that place. Who brought us here? Who did something that caused us to come here? You tell me, let me ask someone here. Carol, how did you find out about the wisdom of Kabbalah?
Tony Kosanek on the Jewish Life TV, the Kabbalah Revealed series.
Johnny?
Walking in the park, and a young friend of mine told me about Kabbalah Revealed and Tony Kosanek's videos.
Matilda?
I found it in Google, so I think that the Creator bring me here.
Tim?
Yeah, I was searching the internet for the meaning of life and came across some YouTube videos by Tony.
Very good. Okay, so each and every one of us, at some point when we had that moment where the question arose, or is that a word? Arose? Yeah? We had this question, and all of a sudden an answer came our way. Someone somehow laid the pavement for us, made sure that we would have some way to find out, whether it was in the form of someone who spoke to us, someone who handed us a book, someone who published a book and handed it to us, someone who put together a video, or set up a website, or did something, and that somehow led us to here. So what is this whole dissemination to others? Why not just sit in our group, unite, where we feel good together? Why did Kabbalists obligate every person to study the wisdom of Kabbalah? And what's my connection with them? And there's a bunch of people out there. We now have a 10, they're all the same purpose, we're connected, we have a common goal. The Creator brought us together, He brought us to the good fate and told us to choose. What's this whole dissemination thing to others? What's the concern with going out and disseminating to others? Real quick round. I know these are big questions, but these are very important for us to figure out. So like 4 minutes I'm giving you.
I'll go. It's to actually begin spreading the light. Let's not just contain the light in this vessel, but let's spread it. Let's create it as the massive new disease of bestowal.
Because we're all one soul, and it's only done complete when it's all done.
We become the tube Leonardo talked about. We are the conduit by which life will enter man.
Yeah, you can't get the Creator's attention by yourself. He hears it a little bit when he's with the 10, and then he can really hear you when you're all working together, everybody.
And also we need to have the concerns, we need to start to teach with example, not only with words, but with our acts and with our relation with other people. The other people have to know and say, oh, this guy is changing so much, what happened to him?
Yeah, that's right. We disseminate by our example as much as we do by actual dissemination techniques. But I definitely, everybody I know that Tony videos were like the first step for finding BB for so many of us. Can you imagine if you guys or we, did something like that and it helped people find, this path that can help everyone?
Yeah, everybody is looking at some point. Maybe not right now, and I don't know that it's anything that you need to coerce anybody on, but you never know who's looking at what time. And then Oscar writes, it's a responsibility to provide gateway to the path of bestowal for others as someone did it for ourselves.
You don't even have to speak the word Kabbalah or anything. Like what you said, Tim. Just be an example. When you're in conversation with someone, speaking the truth as we come to understand it in Kabbalah is so opposite and so inside out from the way people experience the world. They are naturally startled and curious.
And the more we can actually collect these points in our hearts of people of similar equivalence of form, the more quicker we can reach that final correction.
Remember this, we don't do anything actually. We have no power, we have nothing to give, we have nothing. The Creator has everything, does everything. There's none else beside him, and everything he does is good. If we have experienced the love of each other, why would we not want everyone to have that chance? And all we need to do is be a pathway for it, stand back, and let the reforming light do its thing.
And we also need to think that it's not something that I wish to do. We have, and we think to need to have, we have a responsibility. And this is a huge word.
It's testing that faith above reason. What is this thing called faith? It's the light that reforms. So it goes beyond us, like your friends are saying. It's about doing nothing, but doing just what you have to do.
I understand you completely, Johnny, even though it doesn't make sense. I understand you. That's connection, baby.
And I think it's a fine line too. Dissemination isn't one of those things where you want to be at a cocktail party and sound like the smartest guy in the room because you know something that everybody doesn't. It's one of those things where you have to get to a point where you are at you've annulled yourself to your self-love. You can only get that through the group, and then what you're being sincere about what you're trying to present to maybe someone that is looking for an answer.
Yeah, if I try to preach it or shove it down somebody's throat, they're not going to go for it. I just have to be it. Like you said, the only way is to be it.
And only way to be it is through the group. So it's with the group and through the group.
This connecting with the friends becomes your life. It becomes your family. In fact, even more so than your existing corporality family. Why? Because this is the way that we then understand that the path of revealing the Creator and understanding the creation is by keeping the study, it's the Rab, and the friends. And that takes up all of your corporality or most of your corporality, other than having to work and be a part of your corporality family. So it becomes your full structure, your full cell, your full body. And all you do then is to grow it and give the envy to the others to become a part of it.
Dano writes an answer real quick here. Kabbalah is given to us that we are able to correct ourselves and subsequently the whole of creation in regards to the question.
Yes, because there has to be a living example. There has to be a seed of this on the planet for it to sprout and grow.
Man, you guys are great.
And if we look at the state of our corporality and the environment outside of us and what's going on in the political arena and in the nations, this just shows that there is love in the world, that there is connection, that we've got to apply the effort.
Bala Sulam writes in the article 600,000 souls. In my opinion, there is indeed only one soul in the world. As it is written, and I can never say this word right, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. The same soul exists in all the children of Israel, complete in each and every one, as in Adam HaRishon, since the spiritual is indivisible and cannot be cut, which is rather a trait of corporeal things. Yet saying that there are 600,000 souls and sparks of souls appears as though it is divided by the force of the body of each person. In other words, first the body divides and completely denies him of the radiance of the soul, and by the force of the Torah and mitzvah, the body is cleansed, and to the extent of its cleansing, the common soul shines upon him. Friends, we are all one soul. Although in our uncorrected state, when we're looking at things from the will to receive, it appears like we're all separated, that we're apart, that we have no connection to each other, that we're not part of the same system, of the same soul, or the same Adam HaRishon. That's what it appears to us. What we have to do is we need to raise the importance and add this to our friends so that we can connect in a way that we will reconnect that sensation of disconnection. When we do that between us, and the reason we do it between us, let's start with that. The work that we do is first with the closest parts to my soul. Obviously, with those that are that are uniquely for some reason I'm missing words to that. That are uniquely just close to me. They have a burning point in the heart. They're also searching for the same meaning. They're also in this place where they're eager and want to and participate and are willing to work in this group with me in every possible way. When we work with the friends in the group, and we call it, oh, I'm annulling before them, I'm raising impressions. Remember, a couple lessons ago, we talked about acting. We're, acting the right line. We're acting upliftment and doing that. We can call that internal dissemination. I'm spreading the word about the purpose of creation, about the method of correction to my friends. However, that's just one part of my soul. As we get strong in connection between us, we still have to connect the rest of the soul. When we do that and we aim our efforts outwards, we call that external dissemination. It's very similar. Okay, so it's adapted to the soul, the part of the soul that I'm working with. It's no different than when I'm working with my coworker and trying to explain to him something, and working with my 2-year-old. I explain it a little bit differently, right? I use a little different words. I may not use certain examples with one and use other examples with another. But you should know that when we work on the connection between us and the arvut between us, implementing that arvut is through spreading the light to others. I wanted to read you something, but I just skipped it and I can't find it in front of me. Where did it go? Oh, the concept of us connecting for the sake of others, of drawing light for the sake of others, if you think about it, it's the same thing like talking about unity for the sake of unity, or unity for the sake of the Creator, for the sake of revelation. I want to read you something from Rav. I want you to pay really close attention to what I read, because the workshop question will not be a question about it, but I want you to basically discuss this excerpt. Okay? So here it goes. A student asks Rav, why does the smallest of actions in dissemination advance us like years in the society? Rav says, by doing so, you are being similar to the Creator. You come to them to bestow upon them some of the connection. From the love and necessity for it, you become the conduit of light, this pipeline. And because you touch upon your role here, more light comes to you from above. And it is already a special light. It grows you, because you're raising a deficiency of the lower one to the upper one. You receive twice as much, You already receive a part of your achap, which you never received. And by this, you become greater. And then, to this, baby forces and understandings of a youth or an adult are gathered. That is what you receive. If a person cares for the external public, he won't grow in his achap. And achap is not the mind, all the feeling and all the development. Therefore, it is very important. Hence it is said, I have learned much from my teachers, more from my friends, and even more from my students. Because by teaching his students, he develops his achap. Do you understand? Because the firstborn takes twice as much. And from that, he grows. Take 5 minutes, discuss what you got from this.
What immediately occurred was, if we look at Rav and the intensity of the teachings that he has, was the intensity that he applied to the study, and then how it catapulted when he became a teacher. And he's actually a complete introvert. And by becoming that teacher, he just grows into a bigger and bigger vessel that we all want to hang on to as his students. So we can also become exactly the same by being able to teach and spread this bestowal and love and mythology to the masses.
Yeah, I can kind of relate. I have 2 small boys, and I feel like I learned more about being a person by showing them, what I think is the way than, obviously when I was in it or as I grew up and my parents were teaching me. So it's, by being the teacher, I think that's where you truly do really understand everything that there is to understand.
I see it, sorry. I see it like a water pipe. When you teach someone and you help others to start her vessel and to start filling, all the water to fill that vessel maybe can't pass through you. You need to make a bigger and bigger pipe to help the others to fill their vessel with the water. And that's why you pass through all the water to that vessel, pass through you, and that sounds nice.
And I think that's the step that goes from we were in reception's sake for reception's sake, and then we're trying to bestow with our friends in our group for sake of bestowal. And next step, the growth is reception, receiving in order to bestow. So everything you can learn, you can give on, pass on, and then you're complete part of creation, connected to, you are the creation.
And as I was listening to that article that Zohar just read, I'm thinking, oh, Leonardo said that it was the answer to the last question. Leonardo said it, and Johnny said it, and Merle and Tim, and everybody mentioned aspects of that article. And then it was very encouraging, too, that if we do make an effort to disseminate, it draws so much more light for our own correction.
You should think of what the light is. The light is what the Creator wants to give the creation. So what really He wants to give the creation life. His light is really the life force. It's the force of life that we have to raise man up to meet somehow in equivalence. This idea cascading down to the first one. Remember in the Tiha how it goes from when each one and then the next one and the next one and each one is called a son of the other. This is why the firstborn is always twice as big as the next one. And then he said the ahop. In other words, the ahop is where you receive. You know, so if you build up your ahop from below in spirituality, not below, but in spirituality, by expanding that ahop, by passing the light through it, you raise up the other people's ahop to you. That's why you get that extra jolt. And you grow higher. But it's from below, from connecting all this light to everyone, that power comes back to you, into your vessels in the ahop. I hope I didn't lose everybody on that. But that's what I got.
You didn't lose anyone, Mal. You actually connected us even more. You raised us up to become man.
And also I thought as a group, if we as a group receive the light and we give it to others, the light become infinity. It's all we can never stop to receive light because we give it away. Our vessel never be full. We can receive infinity light forever if we spread it.
Yeah, like Dano says, it provides us a double opportunity by being a teacher and a student, so double reward. And Oscar continues with, it's like being another branch and extending to other branches. Being the last branch is being the most vulnerable one, so we need to extend and help creating another branch.
Yeah, it's always the nibbles. The deer that come by my yard always nibble on the branches, right on the tips. All those nice young growing tips get cut off first. I know what Oscar's saying. Shove it, keep growing, and everybody gets to eat.
Questions?
What is the light, Zohar?
Light is the feeling we get. You could describe it as the pleasure we receive when something enters our kli. When a change occurs in us.
Zohar? It's quite often that in Kabbalah we need questions in order to stimulate the interaction and the connection between us. But when you're in a stage where you actually don't have questions and this information is just so amazing that you just keep absorbing like a sponge. Okay, maybe there's a question there. Why is that so?
To relate to what you said, first of all, yes, through questions and answers, that's a big tool that we have in advancement in spirituality and Kabbalah. Rav, even though sometimes he's like, shut up, you don't need to ask questions, really stands behind this concept that through questions and answers, that's a give and take kind of thing. And so there's a lot of receiving and bestowing there in that process. But with that said, we go through different states. We have states where we just have to ask and ask and ask and ask, and we have states where we don't. It's not formulated that way. We go through different. It's just like, are you supposed to? They say you have to go through a sense and descent and a sense and descent. But I'm kind of feeling on a high all the time. Okay, enjoy it. It's like why worry about it? Why do you have to be concerned with that? The Creator sent you this kind of state right now. That's good. We need to be concerned with one thing. Are we sitting still or are we moving forward? We need to constantly be moving forward, constantly accelerating our efforts. I heard Rav saying this week in the lesson that the Creator doesn't like stillness. He likes motion, movement. That for us to have an interaction with him, we need to be in movement. Even if it's, right now it's the wrong movement, but you're moving. You're not stuck. The worst possible state that you could come to in Kabbalah is a state of indifference. Because it's not to here or there. You're better off cursing the Creator and hating Him and yelling at Him and screaming out of the top of your lungs and saying, why? And you're evil, and I can't believe you did this, and you're just whatever. You're better off to discover hatred than having indifference. And at least you have something to move. You're moving. You're alive. And those states need to come. You need to have ups. You need to have downs. Other questions?
Yes, I have one question. We now have the concept of dissemination, a beautiful word. It's a great desire to disseminate, but I think we need to learn the practical way to disseminate, how to disseminate this kind of knowledge, this kind of love of the Creator. The practical way is something I don't have it right now.
Right. No, none of us have it yet. That's good. That's part of what we're going to be learning. You have to understand that this is a process. A big part of this next semester is going to be about that. Not all practical, not all sitting there and learning. I mean, you realize that it really depends on where we're working, and we'll talk about all the aspects of it. We'll actually practice some dissemination, and do so. So there'll be many ways to do that, but realize that sometimes there's a concept in Kabbalah that says Shev Adif Shev. I'm trying to translate it properly. It's like you're better off to sit down. Meaning, if you don't know what you're doing, sit down. Don't cause damage. Don't harm. Has anyone here tried to go and tell someone about Kabbalah and receive a rude awakening that people don't want to hear you, or that maybe you even burnt a bridge? Or we all had that, right? It's a tough one. Right? It's like there's a reason why we don't do that when we're young on the path. Although you would think, but I'm excited about it right now, and it's like it's fresh, and I'm like, I want to go and I want to share it with the whole world. Yeah, but you're not equipped to do it, and you don't know how to do it yet. And if you go and try to do it, you'll be trying to put a square peg into a round hole and not understanding why it doesn't fit. Hopefully, what we understood right now is that this is important. Meaning, if I want to actually advance spiritually, taste what bestowal is, I will probably have to not draw the light for me, but draw the light for passing it on. I think Leonardo said it earlier, I heard in the workshop, being a pipe. Learn how to pass it through me. And by the way, that was one of the things that Rav said there in that answer that he gave to the student, was because the firstborn receives twice as much. The firstborn is the one is us, those who are passing it on. Why? Because we have to have a connection with the Creator to be able to receive that light from, and a connection with the other that we're going to pass the light to. So we're adding our deficiency and the outside person's deficiency, and all that light is going through us. We get twice in there.
Zohar, is the group still plays a major role in how dissemination works, right?
Yeah, without a group, you don't disseminate. I know you're thinking, hey, Zohar's standing there in front of us. He's alone. He's not in a group. There's no such thing. If I'm not connected in a 10, if I'm not connected to Rav, if I'm not connected to the group, if I don't have all that, what exactly am I supposed to pass on to you? Some kind of knowledge? Nothing. It makes sense that logistically you're not going to have 10 instructors standing in front of you, right? But everything has to be done in the group. And hopefully the last few weeks that we did so far, you got the concept why we need each other, right? Who was it? Was it Matilda was talking about how I was a loner. And I just wanted to get what I can get for this or connect to it, and that's it. And many of us are like that. You know who's the most like that? Rav. really, if he's told us many times that if if he had his way, he'd probably close himself in a room with the books and sit there and and really get deep into them like that and do like that. But you realize that when Rav came to Rabash, after a while, as he was teaching him, he said, you need to be able to pass this on. You need a group. And until that point, Rav didn't get it. And he describes it as he basically went out and did an act of dissemination. He went and did a talk somewhere and brought 40 students to Rabash. And at that point, everything changed. I heard Tim talking about that before, and I really relate to that. Guys are potentially fathers, but they're only potentially fathers until they have children. Husbands and wives are potentially a family, but until they have children, it's not a family. Until you have someone to care for, someone to pass it on to, and it's an interesting concept that it's both in nature that way and in spirituality that way. That if you don't have a place to go through, you learn this about light and kli anyway. If I receive for myself, the kli fills up and it turns off the desire, which means there's no more pleasure. The only way to do it is to correct the kli so that it will be to receive in order to bestow. So if you could be having someone to bestow to. We're going to be learning much more about that. I just wanted to touch on it. Why? Because we're about to embark on this journey in that direction. That's the next step of our development. Let me show you something. Yesterday we were in Ramat Gan doing dissemination in the Rabin Square, and we're continuing with that. How do we draw the reforming light in the most beneficial way? That's a different reason for the reforming light. The fact that you're going to connect with other people who have a desire, and you're connecting their egoistic desire to you, and you want for them to be corrected. Then by that, you have an addition of light, and you become a pipe towards them. Therefore, you deserve the reforming light because you're doing an act of physical bestowal that is real. In all your actions that you do during this study and all kinds of other things, who knows what you intend to bestow and what not? When you go to Ramat Gan and you're doing an act of bestowal, even though your intentions are all in order to receive, to benefit, you were told to do this, the friends are going, and you go, and so on. That doesn't matter. The action is an action. You cannot erase it. Through this action, you're bringing a few other people to that reforming light, bringing them closer for it to be. By you working with them, you become a pipeline, a transition for them. So you deserve to advance. An act of dissemination is the most beneficial action for advancement. All right. We touched upon a few things here. I want to give you an exercise, our last breakout for tonight, okay? Listen very carefully. I want you all to put yourself in this mode right now. It's Sunday night, or whatever. I'm sorry, Johnny, it's not Sunday night for you, but whatever time it is for you, and whatever day of the week or what month it is in South Africa at this point. Zohar shows up at the lesson 12 of the young group, and tells you this, makes an announcement. Next week, the young group is over. This week is the young group is over, right? The lessons are done. we as instructors have to go back to being in our lesson, and so you're not going to get our instruction anymore. We had to take on another project. I was approached from BB, and so I'm going to have to go and do something else. Same thing goes for the rest of the instructors. In short, all you have is your 10 now. Right? You're a group. You've formulated something throughout this semester together. How do you continue onwards? How do you not disperse? What framework do you need to put around you to define yourselves in such a way that you will hold on to the path no matter what and do it together? Let's go.
One spiritual advancement depends on the friend. So you cannot advance if you're not going to keep it together. If we're just going to dissolve and, let it go by, we're just going to lose what we've just, worked so hard to get, Jazz. So to keep in the 10s and then to disseminate and to stay in the morning lessons becomes our glue to connect ourselves and to grow us even bigger.
Yeah, when this started, we all agreed that as random of a mix as this is, we agreed that the Creator put us here together, and over the last 12 weeks or however long it's been, we've made some serious progress, and I'd hate to go back on it.
Well, let's look at this. We built a tent between each other. Tim, you were a big inspiration to that and a big help in all of that, putting the Zoom, all this infrastructure to make it possible. Mike, with all your articles and this and that, you brought the lesson, but where is the Rob? Right now we have Zohar, who's filling that role for us, but without that, where will we go except where Johnny said, to the morning lesson, to the Rob of all the Robs, of all these guys. And in that one article, it says, make for yourself a Rob. So that's what we would have to do if everybody bugs out on us. And we're left on our own, fend and sink or swim. What do we do now? We make a Rob, we get the material, we form a 10, we workshop the stuff, and that's how we go. And it's the light. It's got nothing to do with any person on this planet. It's got to do with the light, the light, the light. However we can find our way there within this framework, it's not dependent on any of us. It's dependent on faith in this method of Kabbalah.
Absolutely, Meryl. And the only way this faith can continue to grow is if we continue to workshop in our group and attend the morning lessons and adhere to what Rob says and Rabash and all that, but also that we put this method into practice that we receive in order to bestow, that we continue to work towards sharing with others and implementing what we've learned and giving it to others.
Yes, and I think we create a beautiful seed with much effort of each of us, much effort connecting in the morning, much effort coming to these lessons. We don't want to this seed disappear and with these seeds don't grow. We need to make this seed grow, and the only way, as the Rab said, the only way to make this seed to create a tree is with the books and with the 10, with the friends. We need to start reading the articles, going to the daily lessons, and to start to looking new meaning of these articles and these lessons. Discuss all we can, because with the discussion we can grow up even faster.
Adam?
Well, yeah, being really concerned about every member of your ten and thinking about them every day is something I had to do. And we have Dano saying our point in the heart will insist that we persist, and we will persist. And Oscar, none of us wants to go back to the path of suffering. So we need raw books and friends for the advancement. The rest depends on our effort. And everything that you guys said sounds great. I don't know how I can add to it. I guess Zohar will give you any of the tools that you're missing, you know, or BB, you know, your email or whatever it is that you need. The society is very accommodating in my experience. They even change things sometimes that, you know, a strong desire calls out for.
Well, if all of us get separated, if all of us get taken apart, remember, the Creator brought us to here. The Creator will provide what we need. And we know what they are. All we need to do is ask. And they will show up. Like they showed up to bring us here.
I really love your enthusiasm. I love the fact that you are feeling so close and strong on the path right now that you don't feel like anything could possibly take that away. But I can promise you this, that the more you advance and the more you work together and the more you connect together, the more ready and prepared you will be to receive the bigger obstacles that you need to overcome. That's part of correction. And those obstacles will come in the form of every reason in the world why you should separate, not connect. Why? Because they come from your will to receive, from your ego. We want to create that strong foundation. We want to make sure that we built it upon something that will last, that you have a strong infrastructure that holds you in that place, so that you bind yourself to the group, to the 10, in a way that it will never let you go. It's like I'm coming to my 10 and I'm saying, 10, listen, I'm a weakling. I'm a little egoist. And I know that the moment I turn my eyes in a certain direction or some other little things pops up, I will forget. I give you my permission to, you know, knock me on the head, to shackle me to the group, to do whatever you have to do. We commit to each other. We come to a covenant. We do that kind of work with each other. I'm saying it, obviously, you get the idea. We're not going to be using actual handcuffs, but, you know, whatever it takes. In Kabbalah, we call it, you put guards and policemen in your gates. It's like you place them there. It's not like you're sitting there and you're saying, well, I hope when that happens, the Creator will remember me. No, that's how the Creator remembers you, by giving you these obstacles and giving you these difficulties. For those of you who didn't get part of the message tonight, you should know that we're continuing with the 4th semester next week, same time, same place. Like I said, there's no coercion in spirituality. If someone feels like they don't want to do this, no one's going to hold you here with strength, with force. But I would truly recommend you go there. It is truly the path towards advancement. And you have accomplished so much. You are truly blowing us away with your advancement. So I hope to see you all here next week. I had a couple of other things I wanted to do, but I'll send you those for assignments during the week for you to work on. There was one thing that I want to give you before I send you on an assignment. I had it in front of me, and that's what I'm thinking of giving you right now to think of. Discuss between, you know that those of you who didn't do it, please go in and register and pay and do whatever you have to do to fix those things, okay? Because we don't want to have to deal with that. We want to concentrate on the goal and what we have to do to advance. I think also I sent you, everyone got like the reply that I sent to Merle about what the fourth semester is, right? You don't need me to sit here and read those bullet points and tell you them. Until you get your assignment, which will be in the next day or so, discuss between you in the 10 how the wisdom of Kabbalah touched your heart. In what manner did it awaken you? That's it. Okay?
Will you please repeat that? I was checking my mail and I'm sorry.
At least we have someone who's honest here. See? She wasn't paying attention, but she told us so. How the wisdom of Kabbalah touched my heart, and in what manner did it awaken me? Discuss this in your 10, and I have more coming your way. Okay? I truly hope to see you all next week. And wake up some of your friends who haven't shown up tonight and make sure that they come next week too. Okay? Thank you and good night, friends.
Thank you, Zohar.
Thank you, Zohar.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you so much.
I feel so lucky to have met each and every one of you.
Bye, friends.